a young couple, Mia and Nico, desperately trying to escape their homeland. Their country has been trapped in a brutal war for years, and food has become so scarce that the government has started eliminating the elderly, children, and even pregnant women to reduce the population. Mia and Nico had already lost one child because of this nightmare, and now they're risking everything to reach a distant island where they hope to start over. A smuggler hides them inside a massive shipping container along with dozens of other refugees. During the journey, we learn that Mia is 9 months pregnant, meaning she could go into labor at any moment. After hours on the road, the container finally reaches the port. But the moment its doors open, chaos erupts as more desperate people try to squeeze inside. In the confusion, Mia and Nico are separated. Nico is forced into another container while Mia is sealed inside alone. Panicked, Mia immediately calls Nico. He tells her not to lose hope, promising that once they're aboard the ship, he'll find a way to get back to her. His words calm her down just enough to stay strong. Soon, Mia's container reaches the final security checkpoint. A police officer opens the doors to inspect it, but at first glance, it appears completely empty. Hidden behind the walls is a secret compartment where all the refugees are silently waiting. Unfortunately, the officer already knows about the hiding spot. He orders everyone to come out, threatening to shoot if they refuse. Terrified, one woman finally steps forward. The second the compartment is exposed, the officers mercilessly gun down everyone inside. Men, women, children, and the elderly without hesitation. Before it happened, Mia had quietly climbed onto 2 large cargo boxes near the ceiling, staying completely out of sight. Because of that single decision, she becomes the only survivor. After dumping every body out of the container, the officers lock the doors again and leave, never realizing Mia is still alive. Hours later, the container is loaded onto a cargo ship heading across the ocean. Now completely alone, Mia searches through the cargo and finds a few useful supplies, including food, a power drill, and a couple of phones. They aren't much, but in her situation, they could mean the difference between life and death. That night, exhausted from everything she's been through, Mia finally falls asleep. But sometime after midnight, she's jolted awake as the container shakes violently. Looking through a small opening, she realizes the cargo ship has sailed straight into a massive storm. The waves grow larger with every passing minute, slamming against the ship from every direction. Then the worst happens. The enormous waves flip the entire ship over. Shipping containers begin crashing into the ocean one after another. Moments later, Mia's container is thrown into the sea. The violent impact sends her flying across the metal floor, smashing her head against the wall and knocking her unconscious. When Mia finally wakes up, everything inside the container has been tossed around. Water has already started leaking in, and when she looks outside through the tiny opening, all she can see is an endless ocean stretching in every direction. That's the moment the terrifying truth finally sinks in. She's completely alone, trapped inside a floating steel container in the middle of the open sea, with no rescue in sight. Desperate to reach someone, Mia grabs one of the phones and tries calling Nico, but the screen is shattered beyond repair, making it completely useless. As panic sets in, she notices 2 holes near the bottom of the container where seawater is steadily pouring inside. If she doesn't stop the leak soon, the container will eventually sink. She tears open every cargo box, searching for anything that might help. Inside, she finds plastic storage bins, clothes, a television, headphone cables, and several bottles of alcohol. Using tape and whatever material she can find, Mia manages to seal the holes, at least for the moment. Just then, she hears people screaming somewhere outside. She rushes to the opening and freezes. A nearby container, the one carrying Nico, is slowly disappearing beneath the waves. Mia desperately grabs another phone and repeatedly tries to warn him, but no one answers. Within seconds, the container vanishes beneath the ocean. Watching the man she loves seemingly drown right in front of her completely shatters her. For a moment, she even considers giving up, but then she places a hand on her unborn baby and realizes she can't quit now. She's no longer fighting just for herself. The next morning, Mia discovers the water level has risen again. Her first repair didn't hold. This time, she removes thick rubber from the plastic containers and creates a much stronger seal before draining the water out as best she can. Then something incredible happens. One of the backup phones suddenly rings. The caller is Nico. Relieved beyond words, Mia learns that he was never on the sinking ship after all. He had been separated onto another vessel before departure. Mia quickly explains that she's trapped alone inside a drifting container somewhere in the middle of the ocean. Nico promises he'll find her, no matter what it takes. The call gives Mia hope, but only for a moment. Almost immediately, powerful contractions begin. She's going into labor. As another violent storm crashes over the ocean, the container starts rocking from side to side while water leaks in once again. With no doctor, no medicine, and no one beside her, Mia is forced to deliver her baby completely alone. After an agonizing struggle, she gives birth to a healthy little girl. She named her Noah. Despite the unbearable pain and impossible conditions, Mia somehow manages to keep both herself and her newborn alive. Morning arrives, but survival is only getting harder. Noah won't stop crying, and Mia's food supply is running dangerously low. Realizing she can't stay trapped forever, she decides to escape. Using the power drill, she begins cutting through the steel roof of the container. But halfway through, the battery dies. Refusing to surrender, she grabs a small knife and keeps cutting by hand. Every scrape tears at her palms, leaving them blistered and bleeding. But after hours of relentless effort, she finally breaks through the metal. For the first time in days, Mia climbs out into the open. She closes her eyes and feels the warm sunlight on her face. Fresh air fills her lungs, and for a brief moment, it almost feels like freedom. When she brings baby Noah onto the roof, the little girl finally stops crying. It's a small victory, but out here in the endless ocean, even a single peaceful moment feels priceless. While sitting on top of the container, Mia notices fish swimming nearby and tries catching them with her bare hands, but she fails every time. A little later, she spots an airplane flying overhead. Desperate to be seen, she breaks the TV screen and uses the glass to reflect sunlight toward the sky. But as she waves it, the sharp metal edge slices deep into her leg. The wound is severe. With no medical help available, Mia pours alcohol over the cut to disinfect it, then painfully stitches the wound herself. Every second is torture, but she knows that if the bleeding doesn't stop, she won't survive. Realizing she needs a reliable food source, Mia turns the headphone cables into a fishing net. This time her plan works. She begins catching fish to feed herself, while collecting rainwater for drinking. Baby Noah survives on her mother's milk, and little by little, the two manage to stay alive. Days turn into weeks. Although Mia keeps finding ways to survive, the loneliness slowly starts breaking her spirit. Every sunrise brings another day with no sign of rescue, and she begins wondering if anyone will ever find them. Then one night, the phone rings again. It's Nico. His voice is weak. He tells Mia that he had been trying to reach her by boat, but the police caught him. While escaping, he was shot, and he's lost too much blood. He doesn't think he's going to make it. Before saying goodbye, Nico apologizes for failing to save her. Then he asks to hear his daughter one last time. Mia holds the phone close to baby Noah, allowing Nico to hear his child's tiny voice before the call suddenly ends. Heartbroken, Mia breaks down in tears, but she quickly reminds herself that she can't give up. No matter how much she's lost, Noah still depends on her. The following morning, Mia begins building a small life raft using the floating plastic storage boxes. She knows that if the container ever sinks, this tiny raft may be Noah's only chance to survive. By nightfall, her worst fear becomes reality. Water suddenly starts flooding into the container again. Mia climbs inside to collect the last of her supplies, but her foot becomes trapped between heavy cargo. Before she can free herself, the entire container starts sinking beneath the surface. Meanwhile, baby Noah slowly drifts away on the homemade raft. With every ounce of strength she has left, Mia finally pulls herself free and escapes the sinking container. Ignoring everything else, she swims straight toward her daughter. The moment she reaches the raft and sees that Noah is still alive, she breaks down with relief. Now, there's nothing left except a tiny raft and an endless ocean stretching in every direction. Mia and baby Noah spend another day drifting across the open ocean on the tiny raft. But Mia is completely exhausted. She's dehydrated, badly injured, and barely able to stay awake. At this point, it feels like she doesn't have much longer to live. Then, just when all hope seems lost, a group of fishermen spots the small raft floating in the distance. Realizing someone is still alive, they rush over and pull both Mia and Noah out of the water. When Mia finally wakes up, the first thing she asks about isn't herself, it's her daughter. The fishermen assure her that Noah is safe. Overwhelmed with relief, Mia looks around and realizes they've reached the island she and Nico had dreamed of escaping to all along. The men who rescued them are local fishermen, and after nearly a month of fighting impossible odds, Mia has finally made it.